Good evening, everybody. John here at Havoc Maker Studio, and this evening, well, actually earlier this afternoon, I got my hands on my copy of the Multiverse role-playing game playtest rulebook from Marvel, and it is very nice. I know it's kind of hard to see. It is 120 pages. It is small, and it's in comic book size, which I think I kind of like that versus, getting a big giant rulebook like you do with like Dungeons & Dragons and everything. I think it's a waste of materials, but that's neither here nor there. Let's not even talk about that. Let's talk about this preview. So I'm not going to give you guys a full in-depth breakdown because I want to do a live show tomorrow on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central Time. And as long as you guys are a subscriber, and if you guys have there should be a notification bell next to it. Make sure that notification bell is turned on so that way you'll get reminders, right? And you'll be notified when I'm going to go live. In fact, you should get a notification when I start the countdown for the live show. Now, during the live show, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to do a little Q&A. You guys can, you can ask the questions. I'm going to give the answers, and who knows, maybe I'll ask you guys some questions. And there might also be an opportunity for you guys to win a free something. I'm not sure what, but I'm feeling a little froggy, so there might be a giveaway if you are tuned in and you are a subscriber. So we'll see how that plays out. So what are we going to be able to cover? Well, we're going to cover the full contents of this book and some other stuff that has popped up that I've got my hands on. So first up, let's at least take a look at what is in this book. So I don't know why I put chapters there, but I think I was going with a different type of layout there. But I can tell you that the introduction is a lot of this kind of panned out the way I thought it was. We have the introduction, tells you what is a role-playing game, what to expect from this. Pretty much that, which I really am starting to like to see in some RPGs coming up. Basically, the be nice to your fellow players type thing. Be conscientious of your actions, your words, and everything when you're with the group and such. Excuse me. Then we have actually pretty much what I thought we'd get with rule mechanics, actually less than what I expect. I figured we're going to get like 20, 30 pages. Right now, we only have maybe 5 or 6 pages worth of rules. Now, that does include all the rules, as far as I can tell, for the action check and some of the smaller mechanics. Now, I imagine we're going to see more in regards to those core mechanics, because there's some things like cover and concealment and whatnot that we're not quite seeing yet, but it's not needed right now with a playtest version. So then we get our character profile. Now, the character profile, this is mainly just how to read the data. It breaks down the ability scores, what they are, what ranks are, everything that it is to be a character, what every little component that's on the character sheet that goes into not only the creation for the mechanical side of the game, but also for your backstory and kind of like what people like to call the fluff of your character, which is something that can help kind of direct the direction you're going to go with your character. Then we have a robust combat system, and I think this is why I was thinking there's going to be about 30 pages, because when you combine the combat system with the core mechanic system, then it becomes very large, we're looking at about 20 to 30 pages. And I like the fact that they put the core mechanics first, then they talk about combat in a separate chapter. I like that separation of the two mechanics. The other thing is, at least with this layout, and I hope they do this layout, is that the core mechanics and the combat system are first in the chapter, or first in the book, before we get to the creating a character part. Now, there is character creation stuff in here. It is limited. The There's not everything, but there is a lot. You can make some decent characters out of this. We are only looking at, boy, I don't even know. I don't even know how to explain how to do the powers yet, because I want to save it for the live show. There's not a lot of powers, but there is a lot for a playtest book with only 120 pages. Then we get into our archetypes. The archetypes is where I think a lot of people's questions are going to get answered on, especially in regards to attributes. So we're going to do our best to cover that. And I think that's the one people are going to focus on. So I'll make sure I double check that and read it front to back, top to bottom, left to right, right to left, whatever. And we got backstories and traits, which is part fluff and also gives you stuff. So it ends up being tools for both you and the GM on a role-playing level with your characters and your interactions with the world, and also for dice mechanics, if there's any, and how it relates to your characters or adds or subtracts from your character. So really cool stuff in there. Then we have our powers. We've got about 20 some odd pages of powers, and that's just the ones, and if I'm guessing, it's mainly powers that are focused on what is in what characters are pre-generated that come in this book. So it gives you an idea. You can look at those pre-generated characters versus making your own character and seeing how they kind of lay out those powers. And then there's a whole host of other stuff in there that, once again, I want to save till later, because I really am impressed with what they did with the powers here and how you get your powers. I really like how this is one of the coolest mechanics I've seen with a superhero RPG. What they've done here is really cool so far. Then we've got I think there's 10 superheroes in here that you get to use. They're pre-generated. They're all well-known characters, and you'll be able to use them in the Enter Hydra adventure that's in there. And there's a section for narrators, which is very brief, very, 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 very brief. So you GMs out there, be prepared. It is just a little bit of information, not a whole lot. But if you've run RPGs before, this is really ideal. You already know how to run an RPG. So what they give you here really does help. Then we have the adventure, the Hydra adventure. There is a character sheet in here. There's rule references. So I'm going to highly recommend, if you're going to sit down and play this game or run the play test, maybe even run a couple sessions, have everybody make their own characters, then I'm going to recommend that you print off these rule references so you guys can play a lot quicker. It'll really save you, especially with the number crunch. And the number crunch isn't bad. I just think it's not necessary. They could have gone a different route, but once again, without playing it and seeing why they went this route, I can't make a full 100% solid assessment. But the mechanics involved in determining that, it's actually very easy. I don't know why I didn't figure this out before. I kicked myself, but still, I'm overall impressed with this. Now, what's going to be coming after this? Well, that's a different story. So after the playtest, they're going to go straight to the actual hardcover rulebook. Now, we don't know what size format. Is it going to be this A4 graphic novel size? I'm kind of hoping so. I like this size. That's why one of the reasons why I like I don't think it's graphic novel size, but the Savage Worlds RPG, I really love that size. I think Icons, same size. I think it's a really cool book size, that graphic novel size. At any rate, so in 2023, this is going to drop. And in it, there's going to be more superhero profiles, more villain profiles. Well, actually, we'll finally get villain profiles. We will get more power sets and powers. That will right there kind of clues you in on something. So you get ready to ask those questions tomorrow about power sets and powers. Origins, professions, and traits. Oh my, definitely ask those tomorrow. Narrator tips and more adventures. Now, one thing I'm a little concerned with is I hope they don't put too much superheroes and villain profiles in this book. I would like to still see a healthy amount, right? Just a healthy amount, but not like a quarter of the book. If it's more than 25% of the book, I'm going to be a little disappointed. I think a good 10-15% would be good. Maybe include, I don't know, 20 heroes and 20 villains. And amongst those include like shield agents, AIM agents, Hydra agents, that sort of thing. But only about 20 of each type, heroes and villains. So 40 characters, and that right there, that takes up 40 pages worth of content. Cool. We have no idea how big this book is going to get. But the reason why I'm saying save the heroes and villains for later is just make basically a monster manual and put more heroes and villains in there. Put more of them in that book. It doesn't even have to be a big book. Just put them in that book so we can get more powers and power sets, origins, and everything right now. So right now, like I said, I'm impressed with this book. The layout is really good, easy to read, easy to understand. The artwork, there's some old artwork, some original artwork, I should say. There's new artwork. There's some classic heroes and villains in here that there's some very cool nods that I'm really digging. There are scenes straight out of the comics that they just basically cut and paste. So, I mean, they've got the history what, 40, 60, 70 some odd, 75 years or so worth of comic book art that they can drop in here. I'm really excited about that and where they're going to go with this. And those that are interested in the heroes, I'll at least give you this little tidbit that you have Black Panther, Captain America, Captain Marvel, you have Groot, you have Iron Man, Rocket Raccoon, there's Spider-Man, and this could be, they show Miles Morales Spider-Man, and we've got Storm, Wolverine, and Thor. So we have a pretty broad rankings here. Rankings are their levels. I'll give you guys that little tidbit. We have everything from rank 10 up to rank 25. There's actually a total of 25 levels or 25 ranks in this game. And we'll explain all about that much, much later. So get ready to ask those questions based on this. If you guys need a rewind and screenshot or start writing down those chapters, just in case you guys want to be able to ask questions about this sort of stuff, feel free to. And so here is just my little banner for the Q&A live show. I'll have a camera set up down onto the RPG so you guys can flip through it, or I might just go ahead and buy the digital copy since I didn't have to buy this copy. I might buy the digital copy. That way it'd be easier for me to manipulate online. So we might do that. So we're going to do that. It's going to be a live show. You can ask questions. But I think you have to be a subscriber to ask questions or for at least me to see it. So make sure you're a subscriber because you're always entered into our quarterly giveaways, which our next giveaway is at the end of the month, which is going to be the Rival Panels Dr. Octopus versus Spider-Man miniature set from Atomic Mass Games for Marvel Crisis Protocol. At any rate, you guys have yourself a wonderful evening. I'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Time right back here on YouTube. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you later.